Cash, and welcome back to Cash Talks Football, where we break down all the goals scored in the Premier League and Champions League and lots of other stuff as well. But today we're doing Ipswich against Manchester United, and we always look at it from a technical analysis point of view, not a fan point of view, and actually talk about the game of football. Now, of course, United have got a new manager, but it's kind of same old United, and this manager is going to be really tested because, again, it's never been the manager at Manchester United. It's always been about the players, and they're just not good enough. I don't understand why Manchester United don't see this, or the rest of the world do, but it's just that their players are terrible football players. They wouldn't be making any of the top six sides starting, maybe one or two, but no, I don't even think that. But I want to talk a little bit about this formation and how he sets up his team, so we can see this progress through the weeks. So what he generally does, he sets up very defensive with five kind of back with a player here, and that player looks to receive the ball, knock it back, and then they run into the space. Now, there's a little bit different to the normal sort of standard where you'll have players sort of out wide here in a normal situation, and the normal 4-3-3 that everyone seems to play. Now, there is a couple of flaws when you do this. When you receive the ball here, you're not in space. What do you mean, Cash? You're not in space? Well, you've got nowhere to run into, because generally when you're doing that, the player's back marking you. But when you're further back here, you've always got space to run into. Can you see this? Look. So if you're at the point of attack on the high line here and you're here, it's very difficult for you to run in or do anything in behind because you can be caught offside. However, if your starting position is 20 yards back, you can always have the ball played into this area and run onto it without fear of being offside. Now, also, the other advantages it gives you is it pulls the centre-back over to this zone over here to deal with it if your left or right back's pushed forward. So this zone becomes very pivotal. Now, if the player's already stood in it, when he's receiving the ball, you can already see what he's trying to do. But if the ball's played into it or any other thing going on there, it makes it very, very difficult for the centre-back to actually try to make a decision. And you can see this on this first goal here from Ipswich on this transition. And remember, this manager generally is a transition coach. Sits back, soaks up the pressure, transitions, and then that's when they look to score and break on you. And there's lots of other nuances as well, but that's generally what we're going to talk about and what we're going to look at, especially in this video here. So as we move, thank God, because I don't watch the highlights first. I call it as I see it. This is exactly what I'm talking about. So you have deep line runners that run into this space, that are receiving the ball. So here he is receiving the ball. Here comes the runner, bump, and now he just gets to exploit that space. Now the centre back's got a problem, because what does he do? Does he go and cover the ball here, or does he hold his shape? Well, because he really needs to go and put pressure on the ball, but he really needs to hold his shape. Now, you can see he's had a look here, and this is key there's Rashford behind him, right? So he knows, right, there's a player behind me, but do I go to the ball? And he doesn't need to make that decision just yet as well, by the way, because remember, look where the ball is. No one's scoring from here. He doesn't even have to make that until it gets all the way down to the other side of the field. But let's just watch him move this. This is the point where he needs to start thinking about making a decision. But those deep lying runs, again, remember, there was no player there a second ago, but now he appears. What that does defensively is, well, you're not set to worry about that player because they're always making a deep lining run from a second line. So if the whole point of small-sided games for youth players was to do this, right? So you're playing a system like that is to get one of these players to move to the next line, to teach them how to do deep line runs. Nothing to do with when they say, oh, more touches on the ball. That's all rubbish. That's all for the stupid coaches. But as he starts to break into this space here, it gives this huge problem because all the other players are running from the second line up to the striker line here, and they have to deal with it. And Ipswich don't really know how to deal with or sort of understand this. And I know it's very early in the game and they've just been caught flat-footed. But the marking here, this is quite shocking. Rashford, by the way, he's really slow. These defenders have paced away from him quite easily. Now, this is the guy that we really need to have a little think about because, remember, he's thinking about this player here and this player here. Where does he go? Actually, he shouldn't go anywhere. He should just hold his shape down the middle of the field because ultimately that's where the ball looks to come to. This guy here, does he make a decision? No, he doesn't. And this is one of the bad things here. If he goes, they make a pass. If he stays, they make a pass. So go, do something, because all he's doing is being caught in no man's land. And here comes Rashford splitting between these two defenders, and neither of these guys really do anything. They just are just traffic cones, really. You can go to the ball here, not get too tight, but at least make some steps to make this guy's job a little bit harder. Because right now, it's really, really easy for him. All he's got to do is whatever he wants, because there's no pressure on the ball. You're in a situation where you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. So you go. You try to make a decision. You try to win the ball, because then at least you've done something. And now this is, to me, is a little bit shocking, because all of a sudden, you're going to see you're not doing anything. You're facing this way, You're not really tracking the runner there. You can see that this guy's completely out of shape. He's trying to block a cross, which is fine. It's not fine, but it is what it is. And you have to cover the runner in behind him. Nobody tracks him at all. Look at that. Look at the space between Marcus Rashford and these two defenders here. They've run all the way back. They haven't challenged for the ball. They haven't marked the runner. And they just let an easy goal go in. Decent delivery, decent finish. But it all comes from the 1, 2, 3, 4 players running from that second line up to the striker line into the space instead of being up there it already. So then they have to create the space. No, they can just run into it because, well, everyone's back on their side of the field. The more players they've got back here, the more space they've got over that side, and that's what they like to have. But to do that, they need athleticism. They need a whole bunch of things that, you know what, United don't have. Let's get on and show you some. Okay, so this is a huge problem. United don't have the players to be playing this system in this formation. By the way, 3 at the back is very difficult to play if you don't have the right key personnel. And they didn't have it on the field there with Johnny Evans. You can't be doing this. Now, Ipswich don't score from this, but I want to show you that this problem here that United have. Because, well, it's a new system and they don't know it. Yeah, fair. But you know what? It's not that difficult to really play football. It's really not. If you've been doing the right things all your career. But if you've been lazy, like most of these United players are, look, for instance, right here, boom, joggy, not get back in. Here's the 3 this over there. You're supposed to be covering on that blind side because the ball's on this side. That's the advantage of having these extra wing backs tucking in and coming back. The one's always covering for the gap on the side. He's not doing it. He's not doing it at all. And that's not the worst part. I'm going to show you the worst part about this defensive shape here. And this is it right here. We have 1, 2, 3 players around the ball, and there's nobody in the middle of the goal. Nobody. Absolutely nobody. Which is like... And if it's happening this week, you can damn well sure it's going to happen next week if they have the same players on the field. That's the only way they can change this. Because this ball right here into the middle, look, we're looking at a ball right between the penalty spot and the 6-yard box, and there's not a United defender anywhere near to clear it. That is terrible. Now, this should have been a goal. Anana, as much as he's a terrible goalkeeper, he does do a quality save here. So, you know what? You've got to call out when people do something well, and he does do it well. But the fact you've got somebody shooting in the middle of the box, unmarked, not a defender between you and the goal, it's appalling. It's not just shocking, it's appalling. Anana saves it, great job. But that just shows how far these United players and how much they need to learn to try to adapt into this system. We know the rules. Someone's got their hand up telling somebody what to do. There we go. So the next 5 seconds, someone's going to score a goal. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's your 5. 1, 2, 3. We're not sure what he's doing there. But you can see with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that they're absolutely not really engaged in the football. We've got 1 here. You're not doing anything. You're not doing anything. You're not doing anything. You're not doing anything. And you're not doing anything. Okay, you're in the middle of the goal. I might give you props for that because at least no one was earlier. But in relation to marking anybody, because he's free behind you, no one's actually doing anything. There's pressure on the ball here. No, he's too far away to actually back him up and help him. And that's what I'm coming down to. The athleticism in this team isn't there. They can't double up on players when they've got the advantage to do that right there. They can't. And it's so simple for Ipswich just to get this goal. Well, get the goal isn't the issue. It's creating the space to get the goal. That's what I really mean. Right, so the pass has just come. There's the 1v1 pressure over there. Plump. And it's just played into there. Let me just show you that instead. 3 players take out wide 1 ball. 1, 2, 3. 3 players taken out by 1 ball because they're not actually close enough to mark. They're not really pressuring the ball properly. And no one's really supporting the pressure on the ball in the first place. So now that massive pocket of space, because you've got all these players not doing anything. Look, he's not even marking properly there. Now, this guy's got all the space in the world to come in and have a shot at the net box. Yay! Well, where's the pressure? You should be coming straight out to pressure him. He's not. Look, 1, 2, has a little bit of a hit. Everyone on the back post is ready to follow the ball in. There's no pressure on the ball here. Where is it again? It's in the middle of the field. Wow. Yeah. It's like I think this Amorim guy's going to really struggle with his team until he finds out who his starting 11 is, and he's just hoping for that January transfer window to get some better players in that midfield and actually on that back line, because they are going to struggle. I know it takes a little nick as it goes in there, little bit of a bobble header, bit of a lucky sort of knock in there, but That's the circumstance after the fact. The fact is you're more worried about that space that's being created so easily, and 3 players are taken out by 1 pass, and there's no one else really structured defensively, marking the players correctly in the box, or able to put pressure onto that second ball when it's played into that little pocket of space there in the half space. Dropped it into the net box, and they get themselves a goal. Well, we're going to follow United in the next couple of weeks. I think they've got Tottenham in the cup. That's going to be interesting to see, because if they play this way against Tottenham, Tottenham have got a chance to give another right good hiding. And other than that, I'll see you next time on Cash Talks Football.